I'm going to talk to you about a few things here. First of all, I want to mention the Lord's Feast. There's 7 feasts, but there's 3 major feasts. And one of the things we need to realize is that the Feast of First Fruits. And we a lot of times we don't understand what the Feast of First Fruits is, and we want to replace the Passover, and we want to replace the first fruits. We want to replace unleavened bread, and all those things. And what we don't understand about those is, and all the rest included, of course, the Day of Atonement and Pentecost or Sukkot, and Feast of Trumpets, Feast of Tabernacles. But this one here is what I'm talking about now, is the Feast of First Fruits. When you look at this this wheat here, this is what these feasts represent. Is the first fruits. Of course, we know that the first fruits was actually the resurrection, but we replaced the first fruits with the Easter celebration, and we don't understand the importance of these things. I'm going to show you in a few minutes. We're going to get to a video here that I want you to watch. If you've never seen this before, it's going to be pretty shocking to you. But this is, see this thrashing here that's taking place to this wheat? That's what the first fruits is all about. And this is what part of that's why that Yeshua was beaten the way he was. These things represent what happened to him. You may not understand that, but this is how he got beat. And I know this is not anything like the beating, which we're going to witness that in a few minutes. And but this is what it represents. And when you look at this video that's coming up, you're going to understand a few things about it. Now also, you're going to see a little clip here, a little picture in the next few seconds here. It's going to show you where they parch the wheat or barley, and see they're burning it there. Well, that's what Christ went through for us. Now watch this. Hey, after watching those things, what we need to understand is that Isaiah 51 talks about what Christ suffered. If we look at the Gospels, we can see sort of what he suffered. But the thing of it is that, guys, if we want to go and take pagan holidays and replace the understanding of what the first fruits represents, what the unleavened bread represents, and what the Passover represents. If we want to take all those things away and replace them with a pagan god worship and adultery, the same thing that Israel did, that's your choice. I would say definitely that's a bad choice. And the reason why that I want to continue putting these things up there is because it has everything to do with our identity. I'm teaching a series on the two houses, or the divided kingdom of Israel, and there's reasons why. And I've been talking about for a little while now on different videos, bringing up the subject of our identity. And if we don't understand these things, we don't know who we are. We don't know what things represent. We don't understand how these things are supposed to affect us and how we're supposed to see them. See, the thing of it is that with the Jews, Jerusalem and Israel, whenever they did the harvest every year, they actually rehearsed every single year what Messiah was going to go through whenever they harvested the wheat and the barley. When they took and they put it on the threshing floor, and they threshed that wheat and that barley to get that wheat or barley out of the shell. How they had to go through the process was exactly the representation. See, a lot of the Jews don't understand whenever they did the harvest and did the threshing floor and the winnowing of the wheat, and when they did all that stuff. And of course, when you do the winnowing of the wheat, they would throw that wheat up into the air, and what would happen was the wind would take away what wasn't a part of the wheat, and just take it away. And then what would happen is that the wheat itself would fall to the ground. Of course, preferably they would have a place where it was a solid rock or something like that, and they would pick up the wheat or the barley, either one, and they would they would put it in and then make flour out of it. And also, part of the flour for the first fruits waste sheaf offering, they would make the whole bread, they would make the whole cake, in other words. And then whenever they did that, they would take that whole cake after making it, and they would wafe that bread, that loaf, or whatever you want to call it, the metzah, they would wave that before the Lord. In other words, they would push it up to Him and push it up at Him, saying, "Thank you. We know you are the one who supplied this." And whenever Jesus went up to the Father, that's what took place. See, we need to understand. That's why He wouldn't let Mary touch Him. When we don't understand all these things, when we don't understand the background, we don't understand what all these things represent, we don't understand the significance of who we are and what our background is. See, we think we take it into consideration that we are of the Christendom ideal, the Sunday worship and all that. That's not who we are. We're supposed to be obeying the Sabbath. We're supposed to be following the feast. They are, if you look up the definition of following these appointed times, they're called rehearsals or signals or signs. And you could even say shadows of what is to come. And so when you think about that, you ought to think about what is to come with the Feast of Trumpets and what is to come with the Feast of Sukkot, not Sukkot, but the Feast of Tabernacles. And what the Feast of Tabernacles represent is the receiving of our new. When we're resurrected, that's what the Feast of Tabernacles represents. When you do the Feast of Trumpets, what that represents is it represents the trumps of the Lord through the judgments that's going to be poured out on the earth. And you need to understand these things are coming. These judgments are coming upon the earth. And when those trumps blow, these judgments will come to pass upon the earth. And you need to see that. There's warnings out there for us. There's warning after warning after warning after warning. I could go into all the warnings, but that's not the point. What I'm trying to get you to understand is, if you take away the significance of our real and true identity that we're supposed to have in Christ, you say, well, we have all things that pertain to life and godliness. We're the healed, delivered, prospered, set free, given life. You don't even have a clue what that means if you don't understand the feast, if you don't understand the rehearsals of what we're rehearsing until He comes. And there's a lot to learn. There's so much to learn. And to learn that we have become a part of Israel. We have become a part of Jacob and Judah. We are grafted in to them. We're not an entity of our own, and we're not supposed to be teaching replacement theology and dispensationalism and all those different things. See, people want to teach those because then they take away the Jew out of the equation, and they think that's what they're supposed to do. It is not. See, what we were supposed to do was understand what was fulfilled in the things that Christ did, what He fulfilled and how He fulfilled the feast and all that different stuff. Okay, well, I'm gonna stop right here. Thanks for listening.